I want you to imagine something for me. You're standing there, and he pulls you into a hug. But this isn't just any hug. There's something different about it. You feel it in the way he holds you, the way he lingers just a second longer, the way he doesn't pull away. And in that moment, you realize this isn't casual. This isn't surface level. This hug tells you everything you need to know about how he feels about you. Tonight, I'm going to show you exactly what that hug reveals, how to read the signs, understand his emotions, and see the real investment he's making in you. By the end of this talk, you won't just see hugs the same way. You'll understand the hidden language of a man's heart. You know, we often think that love, affection, and emotional investment are shown through grand gestures, flowers, fancy dates, constant messages. But let me tell you a little secret: the smallest, simplest moments often reveal the deepest truths about someone's feelings, and one of the most overlooked, most underestimated gestures is a hug. Yes, a hug, that brief, intimate connection we sometimes take for granted. Because here's the thing, a hug can say more than hours of talking ever could. And the key isn't how it starts or even how it ends, it's in the linger. Think about the last time a man hugged you and it felt different from any other hug. Maybe it was at the end of a long day, or after a conversation that mattered, or maybe it just happened randomly. That moment when he doesn't let go right away, he doesn't just pat your back and move on, he holds you. Not too tight, not too stiff, just right. And in that silence, in that pause, there's a language being spoken that words could never capture. That linger, that pause before release, is a signal. A signal that he wants to be present with you, that he wants to connect with you, that he is emotionally invested in you in a way that matters. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. It's just a hug, Matthew. Maybe he was tired, maybe he was distracted. And yes, sometimes a hug is casual, sometimes it's just a habit. But here's what you have to notice: there's a difference between a hug given out of obligation and a hug that lingers because of genuine feeling. When a man is truly emotionally invested, the hug doesn't end when the clock says it should. It doesn't end because he's polite or because the moment has passed. It lingers because, in that moment, he wants to show you something deeper. He wants to communicate through touch what he may struggle to say with words. And this is so important. The linger isn't about control. It's not about pressure. It's not about making you feel trapped. It's about presence. It's about him being grounded in the moment with you. When a man hugs you and holds you for just a fraction longer than expected, it's an unspoken message that you matter to him, that being with you is more meaningful than whatever else is happening in the world around him. You might not realize it consciously at first, but your body does, your heart does, and slowly it registers the truth: this man is here emotionally, he is invested in you, he is choosing to be fully present. Now, let me break this down a little more for you, because the beauty of this is in the details. Notice his hands. Are they just resting lightly, or are they holding with intention? Are they warm, soft, seeking connection? Notice his chest, the way he may press slightly closer, not uncomfortably, but in a way that signals sincerity. Notice his head, sometimes a small tilt, a little rest against yours, can communicate comfort, trust, and desire to be close. And most importantly, notice the timing. When he could have let go, when he should have let go, he doesn't. That moment of extra time, that microsecond of presence, speaks volumes. It says, I care, I'm here, you're important. And that is exactly what emotional investment looks like in action. Some of you may be thinking, but couldn't that just be physical attraction? And yes, sometimes it is. But there's a subtle difference between physical desire and emotional investment, and it shows in the linger. When it's purely physical, the hug is about release. It's about tension, it's about desire. It's quick, it's sharp, it doesn't settle into warmth. But when a man is emotionally invested, the hug is patient, it's calm, it's intentional. There's a softness in his presence, a steadiness in his touch, a quiet joy in being with you that has nothing to do with anything superficial. And here's another truth that's crucial: this linger isn't something you should have to ask for. You shouldn't have to signal, hint, or manipulate it out of him. When a man is truly emotionally invested, it comes naturally. It comes from a place of care, from a place of respect, from a place of genuine affection. You can see it in how he holds you, in how he stays, in how he doesn't rush away. And once you start noticing it, once you start recognizing this, it becomes a superpower in understanding the men in your life. Because gestures like this are subtle, easy to miss, easy to dismiss, but they are the clearest indicators of emotional truth. So, the next time a man hugs you, pay attention. Don't just notice the act, notice the linger, notice the intention behind it, the emotional energy, the presence. That little pause before he lets go. That's not nothing. That's him telling you he cares. That's him investing himself in you without a single word spoken. And when you understand this, when you start reading these moments, you begin to see the truth behind the words he says, behind the actions he takes. You start to recognize who is truly there for you emotionally, who is capable of connection, and who is willing to linger, not just physically, but emotionally in your life. Because here's the bottom line: love, attachment, emotional investment, these aren't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes they're quiet, sometimes they're subtle, and sometimes they come in the form of a hug that just doesn't end when it should. That's the hug that matters. That's the hug that tells you, without needing words, that he is here, he is present, and he is emotionally invested in you. And when you start recognizing these hugs, these moments, you start recognizing love in its purest, most meaningful form. Let me ask you something. How often do we listen to what people say, rather than what they show us? We're taught from a young age to trust words, to take promises at face value, but the truth is, words are easy. Anyone can say, "I care," or "I love you," but actions are where the truth hides. And one of the most powerful actions, and perhaps the most honest form of communication a man can give, is his body language. Because body language doesn't lie. Body language tells the truth. Always. And if you learn to read it, it can reveal more about a man's emotional investment than 100 conversations ever could. Think about the way a man approaches you. Does he make eye contact when you speak, or does he look around the room, distracted? Does his body lean toward you, even subtly, like he's drawn in by your presence? Or does he keep a polite distance, polite but distant? These little cues matter more than you realize, because they reflect where his attention actually is. When a man is emotionally invested, his body is aligned with you. He doesn't just stand next to you. He orients himself toward you. His shoulders, his feet, his eyes, even his gestures all signal interest. He's not just saying he's present. His entire body is confirming it. And this isn't complicated. It's not subtle to the trained eye, but most people miss it because they're focused on what's being said, not what's being shown. Notice the micro movements, the way he mirrors your posture without even realizing it, the way he leans in slightly when you speak, the way his hand brushes against yours naturally, not deliberately. These are all subconscious signals of connection. They're his body's way of saying, "I want to be close to you. You matter to me." And when you start paying attention to these signs, you start seeing emotional investment everywhere. Here's the thing: words can be rehearsed, but body language is instinctive. You can memorize lines, you can make promises, you can craft sentences that sound loving, but your body reveals the truth your mind may try to hide. And this is where many women get confused. They hear the right words but feel the wrong energy. The hug doesn't linger, the eyes dart away, the posture is distant. And in these moments, even if he's saying all the right things, your body knows the truth before your mind catches up. Emotional investment isn't just in what he says, it's in what he doesn't have to say. Another thing to notice is touch, subtle touch, not invasive or overbearing, but the little gestures that show care and attention. When a man is emotionally invested, his touch is confident, calm, and considerate. He might brush your hair away from your face, place his hand lightly on your back, or guide you gently through a crowded room. These gestures aren't about control or physical desire, they're about connection. They're about him showing you, without words, that he is present, attentive, and emotionally engaged. And the beauty of these gestures is that they're so authentic, so instinctive, that they can't be faked convincingly over time. Now, let's talk about another layer: the face. The face is one of the most revealing parts of the body because it expresses emotion even when words do not. Look at the way he smiles at you. Is it a fleeting, polite smile, or is it a genuine, wholehearted smile that reaches his eyes? Does he look at you when he's listening, or does his gaze wander? When a man is emotionally invested, his face becomes a mirror of his feelings for you. His expressions are sincere because they reflect his emotional state in real time. And when you start tuning in to these facial cues, you begin to notice consistency, or the lack of it, which is a direct reflection of his emotional truth. And here's something incredibly powerful. Notice how he carries himself when he's with you versus when he's not. Body language doesn't just appear in isolation, it appears in context. When a man consistently orients his body toward you, leans in, mirrors your movements, and engages fully with you in ways that feel natural, that's a pattern of emotional investment. It's not a one-off, it's a signal of ongoing care. He's not just attracted, he's connected. He's not just present, he's engaged. He's not just polite, he's emotionally committed. The key here is mindfulness. You have to pay attention. Most of us are so caught up in interpreting words, analyzing text messages, or wondering about promises that we miss the signs right in front of us. Body language is a constant, honest indicator of feelings, and if you tune into it, you can stop second-guessing, stop wondering, and start recognizing the men who are truly emotionally invested in you. It's in the tilt of the head, the way he stands close without crowding you, the subtle alignment of his body with yours, the warmth of his hands, the sincerity in his eyes. And here's the final truth: when you understand this, when you can read the body language of emotional investment, you gain power, you gain clarity. You no longer have to settle for ambiguity or mixed signals. You can see who is genuinely present, who is willing to connect beyond words, and who is capable of showing you the depth of their feelings through their actions, their gestures, and their entire being. Because emotional investment isn't just something he says, it's something he lives, it's something he demonstrates in the way he carries himself, the way he interacts with you, and the way he makes you feel in his presence. So pay attention. Watch the posture, the gestures, the eyes, the touch, the subtle movements. Listen to the unspoken language of his body. That's where the truth lies. That's where emotional investment shows itself. And once you can see it, once you can recognize it, you'll start noticing patterns, reading signals, and understanding the men in your life in ways you never thought possible. Body language doesn't just tell the truth, it reveals the heart. And that, my friends, is how you truly know when a man is emotionally invested. Let's talk about consistency. Because here's the thing: anyone can be charming once, anyone can send a sweet text, anyone can plan a thoughtful date, but emotional investment is proven over time through consistency. And this is where so many people get it wrong. They confuse excitement with commitment, occasional gestures with genuine care. But if you pay attention, if you really look, consistency is the silent language of someone who is truly emotionally invested in you. It's the quiet pattern that tells you more than words ever could. Think about it. How many times have you met someone, and at first everything seems perfect? They call you, they text you, they say all the right things, but then suddenly it disappears. They're hot and cold, here one moment and gone the next. That's not emotional investment. That's not depth. That's infatuation or convenience or distraction. Emotional investment is consistent. It doesn't fluctuate wildly depending on their mood, their schedule, or how they feel in the moment. It's steady. It's reliable. And when a man is emotionally invested, you notice it because the pattern is there. You can predict it, not in a controlling, boring way, but in a reassuring, grounding way. You know where he stands because he shows up, not once, not sporadically, but consistently. Consistency isn't just about big gestures either. It's not about planning grand events or making dramatic declarations. It's in the small things, the daily choices. Does he check in with you when he says he will? Does he respond thoughtfully, rather than giving vague, distracted answers? Does he make time for you, even when it's inconvenient, even when life is busy? Those are the moments that matter. Because emotional investment is shown not when it's easy, but when it requires effort, and when that effort is applied consistently, over time. That's how you know it's real. And here's the subtle truth: consistency builds trust. You can't truly feel safe with someone unless you can predict, to some extent, how they will treat you. When a man is emotionally invested, his actions are consistent, and that creates a sense of emotional security. You stop questioning whether he cares. You stop wondering if he's going to disappear. You start noticing patterns of reliability that allow you to relax, to open up, and to feel valued. And when you see that kind of consistency, it's magnetic, it's reassuring. It's one of the most powerful indicators that someone is serious about you. But let me be clear: consistency is not about monotony. It's not about predictability in a boring sense. Emotional investment is consistent, yes, but it's also alive, it evolves, it adapts. He shows up in ways that matter to you even as circumstances change. That's the difference between someone who is truly invested and someone who is simply trying to appear interested. The invested man doesn't just show up once in a while, he shows up again and again, even when life gets complicated, even when he's tired, even when it's inconvenient. That's the kind of consistency that speaks volumes without a single word. And this applies to the little moments as well. A man who is emotionally invested remembers the small things about you, not because he has to, but because he wants to. He notices when you mention something important, he follows up, he checks in. He doesn't just hear you once and forget, he remembers and acts on it consistently. That's another layer of emotional investment. The way attention and care are repeated over time. Because words fade, but actions accumulate. And those accumulated, consistent actions build a story, the story of a man who truly cares, who is invested, who is present in your life not just once but every day. Now, some of you may think, but Matthew, life is messy, people get busy. Does consistency mean he has to be perfect? Absolutely not. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean he never falters, never makes mistakes, never forgets something. Emotional investment is human, and humans are imperfect. But it does mean that the overall pattern is reliable, that the efforts outweigh the lapses, that the care is evident more often than not, and that the intention to be present and emotionally engaged is constant. That's what you're looking for. That's what separates fleeting interest from true investment. And let's not overlook the emotional component of consistency. A man who is emotionally invested doesn't just act consistently, he feels consistently. His attention, his care, his warmth aren't one-off bursts. They are ongoing. You feel it in his presence, in the way he engages with you over time, in the way he makes you feel important day after day. Consistency in action and consistency in emotion go hand in hand. They create the sense that you are valued, that your connection matters, and that he is truly invested in being part of your life for the long term. So here's the takeaway: don't be fooled by occasional grand gestures, by intense but fleeting attention, or by someone who shows up only when it's convenient. Look for consistency. Pay attention to the patterns of behavior. Notice the repeated efforts, the reliability, the small daily choices that show care. That is how you measure emotional investment. That is how you recognize a man who is serious about you, who values you, and who is committed not just in words but in action. Consistency is the foundation. It's the invisible thread that weaves through every meaningful interaction. It's what allows trust to grow, love to deepen, and connection to thrive. When you understand this, when you see it clearly, you stop being swayed by empty gestures, you stop guessing, and you start recognizing emotional truth. And once you can identify that, you gain clarity, confidence, and the ability to choose someone who is genuinely worthy of your heart. Because at the end of the day, emotional investment isn't a moment. It's a pattern. It's repeated, reliable, consistent effort and care over time. And when you can see that, you know exactly who is in it for the right reasons, who will show up for you, and who is building a connection that can truly last. That is the power of consistency, and that is why it is absolutely key in understanding the men in your life. Let's talk about touch, because touch is one of the most powerful forms of communication in any relationship, and yet it's so often misunderstood. Not all touch is created equal, and this is especially true when it comes to understanding emotional investment. There's a world of difference between casual touch, the accidental brush of a hand, the friendly pat on the back, and a hug that carries meaning, depth, and intention. Learning to distinguish between the two is one of the fastest ways to understand whether a man is emotionally invested in you, or whether he's simply being polite, friendly, or somewhere in between. Casual touch is light, quick, and often fleeting. It's the kind of touch that happens in passing, without thought, without intention. Maybe he bumps into you in a crowded room, maybe he brushes your shoulder while laughing at a joke, maybe he shakes your hand or pats your back in a moment of celebration. These touches are normal, harmless, and often completely unconscious. They don't carry emotional weight. They're gestures of interaction, of social connection, but they don't say much about the depth of feeling or the level of investment in you personally. Casual touch is neutral. It's surface level. And if that's all you're experiencing, it doesn't mean he isn't interested. It just doesn't mean he's emotionally invested either. Now, a meaningful hug is completely different. A hug that communicates emotional investment has intention behind it. It's not rushed, it's not accidental, and it's not about physical attraction alone. When a man hugs you with real emotion, you feel it. There's a difference in the timing, in the pressure, in the way he positions himself. His arms aren't just wrapping around you because it's polite, they're holding you in a way that signals care, presence, and connection. His body aligns with yours in a way that feels natural, protective, and sincere. The hug lingers because emotionally invested men don't rush through a moment of genuine connection. They savor it, they allow it to be meaningful, and in doing so, they show you how much you matter. Here's a key thing to notice: a meaningful hug doesn't need words to communicate. You don't have to ask, "Do you care about me?" or "Are you emotionally invested?" because the answer is in the touch itself. When a man hugs you with intention, his body is telling the truth. His chest is open, his posture is relaxed but engaged, his hands are gentle but firm. There's warmth and presence. You feel valued, you feel seen, and most importantly, you feel that he is emotionally connected in that moment. This is the difference between casual touch and a hug that speaks volumes about his investment in you. Another thing to pay attention to is how he reacts after the hug. Does he pull away immediately, as though it were an obligation? Or does he hold the connection a moment longer, perhaps resting his forehead briefly against yours, or maintaining eye contact with a soft smile? That extra second, the subtle pause before release, is a critical indicator of emotional investment. It's the difference between someone who is simply being friendly or polite and someone who is choosing to be emotionally present with you. That pause, that lingering, is a message. It says, I care, I value this connection, I am here with you, fully in this moment. And it's not just about hugs. There are other forms of touch that can signal emotional investment, and the key is intention. A hand placed gently on your back as he guides you through a crowd. A hand that lingers on yours when he speaks. A touch that communicates reassurance or support during a vulnerable moment. These are all indicators of emotional investment. They are deliberate, conscious, and meaningful. They are gestures that show he is willing to connect with you physically, yes, but more importantly emotionally. Because touch without intention is meaningless, but touch with intention is powerful. Now, some of you might be thinking, Matthew, how do I know if it's genuine? What if it's just physical desire? And this is where observation over time becomes crucial. Emotional investment in touch isn't a one-off, it's consistent. A man who is emotionally invested doesn't only hug you meaningfully once or touch you intentionally in one isolated moment. He does it repeatedly, in ways that feel authentic, in ways that show he values the connection. He is present physically, but also emotionally. He engages in touch in a way that feels natural, comfortable, and sincere. That pattern over time is what separates true investment from mere flirtation or fleeting desire. And here's the subtle nuance that many people miss: emotionally invested touch feels safe. You feel comforted, supported, and respected in his presence. There's no pressure, no rush, no discomfort. It doesn't feel manipulative or self-serving. Instead, it feels grounding. It feels like he is giving a piece of himself to you, in a way that communicates both care and trust. That's the difference between touch that is casual and touch that is emotionally significant. Finally, I want you to recognize the power of contrast. When you experience both casual touch and meaningful touch from the same person, the difference is striking. The casual touches feel neutral. They're background noise in the symphony of connection. The meaningful touches feel like the music has shifted. They grab your attention, make you feel seen, make you realize, in your body and your heart, that this is someone who is present, emotionally connected, and truly invested in you. That's why learning to read the difference is so critical. It's not about analyzing every brush of a hand or every hug. It's about noticing the pattern, the intention, the consistency, and the emotional resonance behind the touch. Because at the end of the day, emotional investment is shown in actions, not words. And one of the clearest, most undeniable ways a man shows his emotional investment is through intentional, meaningful touch. Hugs, gentle gestures, physical closeness that communicates care. These are the signs that you can rely on. They are silent indicators, but they speak louder than any words ever could. And when you learn to recognize them, you gain clarity. You can see who is truly invested, who is capable of connecting with you emotionally, and who is willing to show their feelings in a way that is both authentic and consistent. That, my friends, is the power of understanding hugs versus casual touch. Let's talk about something deeply important: emotional safety. Because here's the truth: emotional investment isn't just about gestures, hugs, or consistency. It's about creating a space where you feel safe, valued, and understood. And when a man is truly emotionally invested in you, he doesn't just show affection. He creates an environment where you can be yourself without fear, hesitation, or judgment. Emotional safety is the foundation of any meaningful connection, and when it's present, vulnerability follows naturally. And that, my friends, is where real intimacy lives. Think about what it feels like when you're with someone who is emotionally invested. There's no need to perform, no pressure to be a certain way. You don't feel like you have to impress, explain, or defend yourself constantly. You can relax, you can laugh, you can cry, you can express your thoughts and emotions freely, because you know that he will not dismiss you, judge you, or turn away. That is emotional safety. It's more than comfort, it's reassurance, it's stability, it's a clear signal that he is invested in connecting with your authentic self, not just the version of you that looks perfect on paper. Now, let's be clear: emotional safety isn't something you can fake. You can't simply tell someone, it's safe to open up, and expect it to work. True emotional safety is demonstrated through consistent actions, through presence, through understanding, and through respect. It's shown in the way he listens when you speak, really listens, without interrupting or shifting focus to himself. It's shown in the way he responds with empathy, not judgment. It's shown in the way he remembers details about your life, follows up thoughtfully, and proves through repeated, consistent effort that he values you not just in words, but in action. When a man creates emotional safety, he allows you to be vulnerable, and vulnerability is the ultimate indicator of trust. Because let's face it, opening up emotionally is risky. It's exposing your heart, your fears, your insecurities. It's showing someone who you really are, beneath the smiles, the strength, the mask we often wear for the world. And when a man is emotionally invested, he doesn't take advantage of that vulnerability. He holds it with care. He nurtures it. He doesn't criticize, ridicule, or dismiss it. Instead, he validates it, respects it, and protects it. And in doing so, he creates a space where love, connection, and intimacy can truly flourish. Pay attention to how he reacts when you share something personal. Does he lean in? Does he make you feel heard? Or does he shift uncomfortably, change the subject, or downplay your feelings? Emotional investment is revealed in these moments. The way he responds to your vulnerability tells you everything you need to know about his intentions, his heart, and his capacity to connect deeply. Because a man who is truly invested doesn't see your emotions as burdens. He sees them as windows into your inner world, and he values that connection more than his own comfort. And here's the critical nuance. Emotional safety isn't just about listening, it's about action. It's about showing, through consistent care and respect, that he is committed to your well-being. It's in the way he communicates, the way he plans, the way he supports you in challenges, big or small. It's in the way he honors his promises, even when inconvenient. Emotional safety is built over time, through repeated demonstrations of reliability, empathy, and respect. And once you experience it, once you feel it consistently, vulnerability becomes natural, effortless, and mutual. That's when a connection truly deepens. Now, vulnerability isn't just about opening up once. It's about ongoing emotional honesty. A man who is emotionally invested will continue to encourage that honesty, not just tolerate it. He will engage with your feelings, he will share his own, and he will treat your shared emotional space with reverence. And the incredible thing about this is that it's a two-way street. When you feel safe to be vulnerable, you naturally reciprocate. You allow yourself to trust, to invest, to connect. And that mutual emotional openness is what separates casual relationships from deep, meaningful connections. Here's another truth: emotional safety often shows itself in small, subtle ways. It's in the way he notices your mood without you having to explain it. It's in the way he pauses before reacting, considering your feelings first. It's in the way he makes time to check in, even when life is busy. These gestures, often overlooked, are the quiet markers of a man who is truly emotionally invested. They signal that he values your emotional world, that he respects your boundaries, and that he is committed to being a partner who nurtures connection, not just seeks comfort or convenience. And let me tell you, recognizing emotional safety is life-changing. Because once you experience it, you no longer settle for anything less. You stop excusing behavior that lacks presence, empathy, or consistency. You start noticing patterns and distinguishing between men who are merely charming or attentive in the moment and men who are capable of true emotional investment. Emotional safety isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's the foundation that allows love, trust, and intimacy to grow, and without it, any connection, no matter how exciting, will eventually feel shallow or unfulfilling. So here's the takeaway: a man who is truly emotionally invested doesn't just hug you, or text you, or say the right words. He creates a space where your heart can be open without fear. He allows vulnerability to exist safely. He demonstrates through consistent attention, empathy, and care that he values your emotional world as much as his own. That is the ultimate proof of investment, because love and connection can't flourish where there is no safety, no trust, no room to be real. And once you recognize this, once you feel it, you gain clarity, confidence, and the ability to choose someone who will invest emotionally in the fullest, deepest, most meaningful way possible. Because at the end of the day, emotional investment isn't just about gestures. It's about creating a safe, nurturing, and consistent emotional space where vulnerability can thrive. That is how you truly know when a man is committed, present, and genuinely invested in your heart. So let's take a moment to step back and really see the bigger picture here. What we've been talking about tonight isn't just about hugs, touch, or gestures. It's about emotional investment, the kind that shows up not just in words, but in action, in presence, in consistency, in subtle, undeniable ways. It's about the small, quiet moments that reveal the truth about someone's heart. Because a man's love, his care, his investment, it's in the linger of a hug, in the alignment of his body with yours, in the reliability of his actions, in the way he touches you intentionally, and in the emotional safety he creates for you to be fully yourself. That is where the truth lies. We started by looking at the linger of a hug and understanding that sometimes the moments that feel fleeting are actually loaded with meaning. That tiny pause before release, that subtle warmth, is a window into his emotional world. Then we explored body language, learning that his gestures, posture, and the way he orients himself toward you can speak louder than any promise or sweet word ever could. We talked about consistency, realizing that emotional investment isn't a one-off. It's a pattern, a steady stream of presence, effort, and care that reassures you over time. We also unpacked the difference between casual touch and meaningful connection, seeing that intentional, emotionally charged touch is not just about physical closeness. It's about showing care, presence, and genuine connection in a way that casual gestures simply cannot. And finally, we delved into emotional safety, recognizing that vulnerability is only possible when a man makes you feel safe, valued, and understood. Without emotional safety, all gestures, words, and touches lose their weight. With it, they become profound. So, here's what I want you to take away. Don't be fooled by charm, by intensity, or by gestures that feel good in the moment but lack depth over time. Pay attention. Observe. Notice the linger, the body language, the consistency, the meaningful touches, and the emotional safety he creates. These are the signs, the signals, the proof that he is truly emotionally invested in you. Because at the end of the day, love and connection aren't just about fireworks or excitement. They're about presence. They're about care. They're about someone showing up for you in ways that matter, repeatedly, intentionally, and consistently. When you recognize these signs, when you understand these gestures, you gain clarity. You gain confidence. You gain the ability to choose the kind of love you deserve, the kind of love that invests in you, values you, and makes you feel seen, safe, and cherished. So the next time he hugs you, the next time he reaches out, the next time he touches you in a way that feels intentional, pause. Notice it, feel it, recognize it for what it is, a reflection of his heart, a mirror of his investment, a signal that he is here, emotionally present, and genuinely invested in you. And remember this, when you understand emotional investment, you don't chase it, you recognize it, you honor it, you allow it to grow, and you never settle for less than someone who is willing to show up for you, fully, deeply, and consistently in every moment that matters. Because that, my friends, is how you recognize true emotional investment. That is how you distinguish between fleeting attention and genuine care. That is how you see the love and commitment that is real, tangible, and lasting. And when you do, everything changes. You start seeing gestures, words, and moments in a completely new way. You start choosing wisely, confidently, and intentionally. And most importantly, you start giving yourself permission to accept the love you truly deserve. The love that shows up, holds space for you, and invests in your heart in the deepest, most meaningful way possible. So, pay attention, trust your instincts, read the signals, and honor the patterns. Because the man who is truly emotionally invested is not just someone who says the right things, he is someone who shows up for you in ways that matter, again and again. And when you can recognize that, you can finally stop wondering, start knowing, and start experiencing the connection you were always meant to have.